What's up, everybody? It's your guy, Warren Ballantyne here, aka WB. This is Common Ground, where we try to find solutions to problems. We try to greet everybody with love. We don't point fingers. We don't blame anybody. We try to highlight people. We try to highlight good people. We try to support people. We try to support good people. And we always try to do it from a position of what? Love. Well, my next guest, let me tell you something. Author, songwriter. But that's not even the best part of this interview for me. Because see, I saw the movie. I saw what they were doing. So we got to talk a little bit about that too. But more importantly, this woman lost her house in a fire. The fires in California, when those happened, she's rebuilding now. But more importantly, she's been all over the world. She's been to the White House. She's a singer. She's a performer. She's a writer. She's an author. Common Ground. It is my honor. And when I tell y'all, look, when y'all find out what she's done now, y'all all gonna be losing y'all mind because I saw y'all in the theaters. I saw y'all in the theaters. Stephanie Spruill, welcome to Common Ground.
Oh, thank you, Warren. I am so blessed to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Oh,
So let's get started.
pleasure is all mine. Stephanie, look,
Yes,
before I even tell everybody the secret that I know, all right,
yes.
I want to start
Mm,
off just talking about you first. Okay.
okay.
Now,
Yes,
you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you're an author.
yes.
One, how did all this artistic creativity and beauty come out of one person? How did you get all this, girl?
Mom and daddy. DNA. In the Spruill household in Los Angeles, California, every day was a jazz day because my mother and father always had jazz playing in the household, and all of us played instruments in the hood. Okay, there were 9 of us. My family made an exodus from Alabama to Los Angeles, so I had 6 brothers and the 3 girls. So we're a large family, but all of us played. My daddy said, "Okay, you guys are going to play classical instruments." So I played cello. And also, I sang in the choir at church. So that was my introduction to, solfeggio for playing in the orchestra all through school. And also being a team player, being in the choirs in church and all of that. So fast forward, was in a performing arts school called the Young Saints. That's where I performed at the White House, with Danny Kaye. I did Ed Sullivan shows. I did Las Vegas, all of that as a child, at 16, 17 years old. And then I received a scholarship to the Eddie Cantor Foundation of Creative Talent. And that's when I saw the big boys, really doing it and paying it forward to us kids from LA. And then I get a call from Jerry Peters to work with A&M, Lou Adler over at A&M. And then when he saw me, I'm behind the microphone doing my thing, but I'm standing behind the microphone, right? He says, "Oh, she's got something. I want her to be with David T. Walker." So that was my big experience touring after touring with the Young Saints around the world, but touring with David T. Walker, and the rest is history. I started doing sessions after session after session. All the producers, record company executives would call me. And also I'm a vocal contractor. I would do all of the paperwork and hire the voices to be on various records. Ooh,
Man, that's fantastic. And then you wrote a book because you saw how the industry was doing kind of a change. Let's talk a little bit
yeah.
about your book.
Well, there was a paradigm change in the industry. And before, back in the day, let's go all the way back to Motown, and they had A&R.
Hmm.
They would take you under their wing. They would teach you how to dance, act, had etiquette and everything. They changed that. They didn't have any artist repertoire in the companies. So that's when I started my School of Voice and Artist Development, and I wrote my book, 17 Points to Longevity in Show Business, staying focused on your vision. Now, the vision that God put on your heart, not the vision that somebody else gave for you, because we do have a vision, a purpose, and we have to follow through with that and strike while the iron's hot. We can't be lingering with it. So that's my book. I'm an author, songwriter for Najee and John Lucien, hit songwriter, Jeff Lorber and I. And I've performed with so many, many performers around the world,
Now,
like Julio Iglesias and
you
so
also
forth.
are a vocal coach, and you opened up
Yes.
an academy, a school.
Yes, sir.
So,
International school.
yes, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, the school is Spruill Music School of Voice and Artist Development. I teach people interpersonal skills because you see, you don't just need to know how to sing. A lot of people come to me can blow. However, they have no skills how to navigate this industry. That's where 17 points of longevity comes in because I start the book off, it's 17 points. I said, God, why are you giving me 17? Why not five? Why not 20? But he says, seven. I'm one, seven together, eight. That's completion, right? So, with that in mind, my 3 points are personal, career, and financial. In my personal points, it's like confidence, focus, all these things that you need to, emotional well being. Wow, physical well being. I'm teaching them all of that. And then you get to career points. You have to know how to network, all of these things that you have to do in order to stay and be viable in this industry. And then financial points, that's the last part. You have to know how to handle the money when you start making the money.
Yep.
So I'm teaching them all of these things in tandem and vocal coaching, hence my School of Voice and Artist Development, International School of Voice and Artist Development. I have kids and adults and orators come to me from around the world, whether it's Spain, Moscow, Korea, China, all over. Yeah.
Man, that's fantastic, man. I wish I'd have met you
Thank
when
you.
I was younger. I grew up in a church, and it was my aunt's and uncle's church, and so growing up in that kind of church, if somebody was not there to perform choir practice on the guitar, guess who got thrown on the guitar? Me. If somebody was not there
There
on the
you go.
organ, who got thrown on the organ? Me.
There you go. There
so,
you go.
so
That's perfect because that's part of my book. It's all about skills. See, you had skills, so
yeah.
you was able to show up and show out.
Yeah, just a little bit. My grandfather had a band and he was a saxophone player. And so music
Okay.
was a big part of all of our lives growing up. My cousins, my siblings, parents, everybody has something that they can play. Everybody does. So
Yes. There you go.
now
That's
let's talk a
yes.
little bit about what you're doing here for right now, right? I went and saw this movie, right? I think it was
Uh-huh.
called Michael. And
Mike,
let me tell you, the singing, fantastic. The dancing, fantastic. Jafar Jackson blew me away. Blew me away. He looked so much like his uncle. And
yes.
the thing that really, 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 really blew me away was the fact that you could see 3 and 4 generations of families going to watch this movie, which I thought was so cool because I didn't think about it at first, but I was just like, dog, that's right. They came out in the late 60s. So people in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all these decades of Michael. So you're going to have all these generations. And you played a huge part in this movie.
Yes. Yes.
So let's talk about what you did in the movie as far as helping them with their vocals and other things.
Yes, yes. Well, speaking of Jafar, I would go to Havenhurst. That's the family
Right. Compound.
mansion compound.
Yeah.
Yes, in Encino, California. I would go there, and I was in the studio that Michael would write all of those hit songs. And I was working with Jafar, and I looked at Jafar. I said, Jafar, you look just like your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I feel Michael's spirit in this studio because that's where he would stay, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start writing his songs because it was a spirit. When you said it transcends generations, because that's what Michael was. He was a transcendent spirit. He was all over that studio and all over Jafar. And him, Jafar being Jermaine's son, he has that voice, you know.
Yeah.
I was also Latoya's vocal coach, and asked Latoya, I said, Latoya, why do all of you guys talk with this little high voice? She said, well, we got that from Grandpa. And I said, okay, so I know the DNA because voices are very important to me. I listen to tonality.
Mm-hmm.
So working with Jafar was amazing. Then let's talk about opening up the movie with Giuliano Valdi.
Yeah.
He's the one that plays the young Michael. That's where it starts,
He was
okay?
fantastic too.
That's my student. For 5 years, I've been teaching him for 5 years. He came to me when he was 8, and they wanted him for the Michael Jackson, play, but when they started talking about the movie, they said, "No, no, we saw Giuliano," because Giuliano is a triple threat. He dances, he sings, he performs, he acts. So when he got with me and they told me, "Stephanie, we gotta prepare him for the movie," that's exactly what I did, and that's what the production manager said, John Warhurst, who was over the music department. He says, "Stephanie, you got the essence of Michael through Giuliano. Those voices that you hear in the studio when he's with Berry Gordy,
Hmm.
that's Giuliano singing." Because I worked very hard with Giuliano. Even through the fire and everything, he would come to my studio here at the apartment. Thank God there's an apartment, there's a studio beneath my apartment, and I continue to show up and show out
I
with
was going to
my
ask you specifically because
Yes, sir.
for you to be able to recreate that sound, because it
Yes.
sounded, I mean, like literally, I was in the theater like, he's singing this song. People next to me was like, no, he's lip syncing. I'm like, no, this kid is singing this song right now. I was
That
like,
was
it
Giuliano.
sounded just like Michael though. That's what was crazy.
Yes, yes. Being young, being 8 and 9 years old, that's how old Michael was, and Giuliano has a gift, and I worked hard on intonation and tone and nuances, and when Graham King, the producer of Michael, the biopic, asked me, "What are you gonna bring to the project? Why am I gonna hire you?" I said, "Because I'm gonna get the nuances of Michael," because I worked with Michael on Can You Feel It? I worked with Michael on, Heartbreak Hotel as a singer, and also Dancing Machine as a percussionist, tambourine player. So I've been with Michael, and I knew and I could hear his nuances. That's what I contributed to the movie, and to Giuliano, and to Jafar, and all of the Jacksons. I worked with all of them.
You know, when I
Yes.
was watching the movie, though, I'm gonna tell you what I personally got from it, because I was watching it and I was like, these people are really singing the songs and they sound just like Michael, but more importantly, they felt like Michael to me.
There you go.
And to me, I was, because as somebody who, I
Yeah.
can't sing worth a lick, but I know music, and literally I'm just like, you can feel Michael in these actors. They're really engulfing the spirit and the soul of Michael as they're performing this. And I said, whoever their vocal coach was, they had to learn that from the vocal coach.
Thank you. That's what I wanted them to do, is embody Michael in their character, and that's what they did. And I was very proud to be on that project. Michael, the biopic, hit.
How do you get that? How do you get somebody to channel that though? You know how you're talking about how gifted other people are. Do you know how much of a gift that is to be able to teach somebody to channel somebody else and become that person?
It's a gift from God. You can't learn that in school.
No.
Me being a performer, a musician, an artist, or myself, it's all about production. And that's what Michael embodied. He was flawless. He didn't want anybody around him less than him. So he was only about having the best of the best, because that's what he was. And he was a spirit that came to us with such open arms. So that's why I'm kind of the same. It's a frequency that Michael Jackson was on, and I say is on, because his spirit is still here. It'll be here when nobody else is here, because he's the best ever.
He really was the best ever. I mean, he really, really was the best ever. I love Prince too, and I love so many other people, but he was really the best ever. And I want to talk
Yeah.
about some other people that you work with, but I want to talk about one person in particular. And I'm gonna tell you the reason I want to talk about this person. I'm gonna give you a backstory. So
Okay.
I grew up in Chicago, in the inner city of Chicago, in an area called
There you
Inglewood.
go.
That's a very, very rough area, right?
Yeah.
Grew up there, graduated high school, went to college, went to law school, became a lawyer. My mom, I get on the radio, I started doing radio, I started doing television. Aretha
Yes.
Franklin is doing an interview when
Woo.
Kathy Hughes had a TV show on TV1 where she was interviewing celebrities. And she asked Aretha Franklin, who was her favorite person to listen to on the radio? And she said, Warren Ballantyne. I love Warren Ballantyne, right? My
Right.
mother, she was more happy about Aretha Franklin saying my name than me graduating
Yes.
from law
There
school,
you
me being in the White House with Barack Obama, working with him. She didn't care about none of that stuff. She was
Right.
just Aretha Franklin said my baby's boy's name. So, and then she got mad at me because Aretha invited me to one of her birthday parties, her legendary parties in Detroit, and I couldn't go. And my mother was so mad. She's like, "Why didn't you just send me?" But I loved Aretha Franklin. I met her, got to be around her. She's such a beautiful soul. You worked with her and Whitney. How was it
Yeah.
working with those two legendary women? And I know you got stories about both of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, starting with, Aretha. I worked with Aretha. I was an actress, dancer on the Mac Davis TV show,
Mm.
and Aretha was one of the guests there. She didn't like people fawning on her and everything, and I came in there and I said, "Aretha, can I paint your fingernails? Can I do" she said, "You so sweet, baby. Yeah, you can." She didn't let people touch on her and stuff, but I said, "I can't let this bowl sister, the best singer since I don't know. She's the best." And she let me paint her nails. Now that was something special. Fast forward, Luther Vandross. I did a lot of records when
Oh,
he came to LA.
I
That's
still
my
love
boy.
Luther. Still love him to this day.
Yeah, that's my boy. We did so many say he thought I was he called me his favorite soprano other than Cissy Houston. Okay. When he couldn't get Cissy Houston, he said Stephanie Spruill.
Hmm.
Okay. And so he called me on, jump, jump, jump to it.
Hmm.
So I did jump to it, that whole album, and it was great to be there working with Luther and working with Aretha Franklin. When I saw her in the studio doing Jump to It,
Hmm.
she had, she loved chili dogs from Pink's, and she loved scampi. She was eating some shrimp scampi, and she took a bite of that hot dog. She said, "Okay, I'm ready." And I said, "I know she got to hear her voice. I know she needs some tea. I'll go get her some tea, honey." Aretha said, "Okay, I'm ready." She sang that song from the beginning to the end, flawless,
Wow.
flawless. I said, "Oh my God, this woman, she's just a gift from God, another gift from God." The woman was just phenomenal, her voice, her chops. And I saw her eat something and then sing Jump to It from the beginning to the end. And that's the track Luther had on the album.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, it's phenomenal. Very few people can do that. Go in and sing the track all the way down and you're going to keep it. When you have someone like her and Michael and myself and Whitney Houston. Oh my goodness.
That was a
I
singing
did
woman
the
too, boy. Woof.
Yeah, no, no. She was the best ever because she was not only a phenomenal singer, she was a technician, she was beautiful, she was just flawless. When they fixed her up and everything, she was flawless. Um, I did the Academy Awards with her when she and Mariah Carey did it for I think it was the Prince of Peace, a movie that they had out together, the Prince something. But anyway, they did a duet together. And so I worked with both of them. But Whitney Houston, she was taking care of herself. She had her vocal spray. I saw her sitting there with her vocal spray, had her how do you say her coat around her and had her scarf around her neck. She was really professional.
Mhm.
So God rest her soul. She's gone too soon. All the ones we're talking about, Michael, all of them gone too soon. But
Y- y-
hey,
Yeah, as I was watching the movie in the theater, I remember that Pepsi commercial when his hair caught on fire. Right. At the time, I think I may have been 10 or 11 years old when that happened. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, Michael Jackson's on fire, and literally, is he gonna be okay? You know, I was crying and everything as a kid. As I
Yeah.
was watching the movie though, I'm sitting there looking at that and then realized in the movie how they talked about how he was gonna have this permanent pain and this permanent scarring. That moment, that 30 seconds in time, to me kind of changed the whole trajectory of his life.
It did. It did. It was like, what was the good part from it? I'm gonna go there. That's when he started singing peace
Yeah.
songs,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
loving
Yep.
people, the, ecology, the wind is too h all of that.
Yep.
That's when he went there because he said that in the bed, "Now I have a new vision for
Yep.
myself."
Yep.
However, he had to be on pain medication because his brain was exposed.
Mm.
It was so much pain that the people didn't know he was going through because and the vitiligo and all these things, he didn't want people, his public, to know. So, but he, what about us? What about the people? What all these beautiful songs that he wrote, um, he changed after that, the trajectory of his life did change. And because of the drugs he had to be on.
Yep.
And then the world came against him.
Yeah.
The dark side of the world, that periphery that's why my first point that I always say to my students and in my book is confidence. Don't leave home without it. And if you don't have it, fake it till you make it. And the second one is focus because that white noise will come in and take you out of here.
And it's
And
even
that's
loud.
what they tried to do.
It's even louder today with this social media aspect of it.
Thank you.
I am very protective about my personal life, personal
There you
everything,
go.
my kids, because it's literally so bad out here today. And it's funny because in today's society, as a single man, if if you're dating somebody, they want you to post them all over social media. And I'm just like, that's not,
Yes.
I'm not that person, because my
No.
life isn't like a regular person's life. Even though
There you
I
go.
try to make it be regular, it's not as regular as a regular person's life. I'm not a super duper star, but it's people that know me. And because
Yeah,
it's people that know me, you have to be protected of your family, your friends,
there you go.
and your brand always. Always. And so when you see what's going on today, these
Ugh,
younger artists that's coming up now, are they really being trained? Now, I know Giuliano was trained because he was that boy was bad in that movie. But are these young women and young men being trained? Are they moving too fast? And is social media really the right way for them to go? Because a lot of these people are going on social media to try to become stars.
well, it's all about an influencer. It's all about how many hits you get on TikTok. That's the way of the world now.
Yeah.
So all of us have to play that a little game of it when you're trying to get something out. Okay? IG, Instagram. You put on significant things and you reach millions of people.
Right.
But a lot of these little girls, it's got to be a size 0 and real cute. And you don't even know if they're really cute because it's AI.
And it's filters everywhere, and they do the AI pictures and make them look smaller and everything. It's just ridiculous.
No, no, no. The AI, it's not even them, they're avatars.
Oh.
And they'll pick a voice like an Aretha or Whitney and put it with the voice, and then they try to figure out what song, and they put it up there and it sells millions. It gets millions of streams. That's the new world. It's that Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, all that fake. But when you're dealing with, there's still reality. There's still a Miss Stephanie out here who's going to help you navigate this industry we call show business because it's a beautiful industry. It's not the industry, oftentimes it's the people in it. So when you can surround yourself around good people, use social media for what you need for without putting your first child, firstborn on there. Don't sell, yeah, don't sell out to it.
Yeah.
Just use it
Use it as a vehicle,
as a
as
tool.
a
It's a
yeah,
tool.
yeah,
It's another tool.
yeah. I totally agree with you. Rick, who he does voiceover work as well. He was the voice for ESPN. He voiced on radio stations all across the country.
Wonderful.
Rick he's mastered all of this stuff. I'm one of these
Yes.
people, I don't even want to know it unless I just have to know it. Like even this
Yeah.
even this interview right now, right? This interview is
Yes,
for
sir.
Sirius XM radio that will be aired on the radio part. This video part is because this is something else that I don't do at all. They do all that. I don't know nothing about it. I just they
Yeah.
got me doing this. So literally, I'm one of these people that I try not to be on it, try not to use it. Or if I'm on it, I'm just cracking a joke or giving something that happened in the news that people need to know about. So
But you know what, Warren? You are good for this visual because you're expressive, you're not boring, you smile, your face lights up the camera, so you have all of that. So when your team puts you on there, you're ready.
man, I don't know if I'm ready. You said something, and I
Yes, sir.
totally relate to what you said. You said
Yes.
that God and art are connected. And I feel the exact same way. Like I'm doing this because this is what God wants me to be doing right now. And so
Oh,
that's why
gee.
I'm doing it. So all of this is with God. When this is cuts off, I'm very quiet. Like if I go somewhere in the room, I don't really talk much if I don't know people. I kind of just sit back and watch everybody. So this is like Michael. When I come on stage, it's go time. When I get off stage, I'm quiet and just I want to eat some popcorn and watch an old movie.
Okay, but you know what? That show business is show for 2 hours on stage or on
hmm
camera, and the other 22, you're handling your business.
hmm
That's the way it is. You have to do more business than show. You show up and look good the whole 9 yards, but behind the scenes, you're handling your business because it is a business and people want to get paid and people want to, be taught. And that's why God, when you mention God and art, are the links that bring me closer to my divine purpose. That's my mission statement. That's what it's all about. And that's why I'm paying it forward because it takes people who are veterans and people who've been in this industry for the good, bad, and the ugly of the industry and life because life shows up whether you like it or not, or things come in and things go. I wrote a song, Nothing Lasts Forever. And that is so true that John Lucien recorded. Okay. Um, Nothing does last forever. However, we do. Our voices, what we do is your first impression is your last. However, what you leave them with is what they will remember.
Amen.
We always have the opportunity to redeem ourselves. That's life. And we staying in it, Brother Warren, Sister Stephanie.
Sister
We're
Stephanie,
staying-
look, girl, I like you. Look, before we get out of here today, I'm gonna tell you,
Oh,
I left Michael's biopic, and it was a lot of things that I did not know, like the dancers in Beat It. I'm not gonna say who they were because I don't want to give it away for people who have not seen it yet. But the dancers in Beat It had no idea about that. Had no idea about the Pepsi money, what he did with that. I didn't know he donated all of it.
isn't
It
that something?
it really I loved him already, but it
Yes.
it really made me be like, this man was so special, and people just don't know how special he was. What do you want people when people walk out that theater? I hope they feel the way I felt. But when they walk out that theater, what do you hope they feel when they walk out of seeing that movie?
That no matter what comes against you, you can thrive. It's all about paying things positive. Be
hmm
positive as possible, because stuff is going to come against you. But if you're positive, then it brings light, and all this darkness, light always outshines the darkness. That's what you're going to see from Michael. You're going to see Michael's exemplary talent. You're going to see Michael's love for children, for life, for animals, for God's nature,
Yep,
for God's for God's all things that about God. That's him. So you will be coming out with a lot of information. And I'm glad that's the way Graham and Antoine Fuqua
yep.
chose to, and the one who wrote the screenplay, Logan, who chose to um, magnify the goodness and the positive. Put in some of the dark, yeah, because all of us have to go through it to get to it.
That's right.
That's a that's our journey.
Yep.
However, walk out of there feeling revived and knowing that Michael was there for us. You know, what about us?
That's right.
That's what he wrote about.
That's right. That's right. And look, Bubbles is still alive, y'all. He's 40 years old. He is
Alive.
still alive. Bubbles is
Because
still
of
alive.
Michael.
Because of Michael. That's exactly right. Because he saved him. That's a backstory y'all don't know about neither. Y'all thought he just went and got a chimpanzee. Nope. He wasn't just he was saving him. Y'all, look, go check out the picture. Stephanie, what can people find you at? Where you at?
Oh, yeah. Spruill, StephanieSpruill.net. That's STEPHANIE, P as in Paul, RUILL.net. And then you go to my IG Spruill House, SPRUILHOUS. And you can get me at LinkedIn. You can get me at Facebook. You can get me any, social media platform, and my book, 17 Points to Longevity in Show Business, Staying Focused on Your Vision. And all of my records, I have exercise records also, my students Sinbad and Megan Good and all the wonderful people who've come to me. I am just so blessed and highly favored in the Lord. Just thank you, Warren, for this wonderful, wonderful interview.
No, Stephanie, thank you so much for taking time to be with us. You are always welcome on my show. Any show I got, you are always welcome to come on to. Everybody out there, look, if you got a child that you know can sing or can carry a tune or you want them to get better, reach out to Stephanie. All you got to do is watch the first part of the Jackson 5 when they were little kids and listen to Giuliano, who's playing Michael. And if you can't see what I saw, then you don't see that in your child. You probably shouldn't do it. But if you see what I saw in the movie, you're going to be running to her in LA to try to get your child signed up. Trust me.
Right.
Trust me.
And I do classes online as well. So you can hit me up.
Hit her up.
Yeah.
Get her book. Stephanie, thank you so much.
Oh,
this was such a great interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, everybody. We'll be back